Good evening. Welcome to the overnight edition of Art Bell and Dr. Ron Klutz on Open Line Calls about the topic of anti-aging. Without further ado, here's Art Bell.
Midnight in the Desert spans the world. To call us from outside the U.S. and Canada only, use Skype with a headset mic if on a computer and call MITD 55. That's MITD 55.
That's it. North America, MITD 5. My guest is Dr. Ronald Klutz, and he actually coined the term anti-aging medicine. So we've been talking about anti-aging and a whole lot of other things through the night. If you have comments, now's the time. We're going to go to the lines, I promise. So here we go. Doctor, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go to Ben on Skype. You're on the air with Dr. Klutz. Hi.
Hi, Art. Ben in Tucson. Dr. Klutz, just curious. Just another method of ingesting the THC is to juice the leaves. That's what I do. And you don't get high, you don't get stoned or anything like that. But if you juice the leaves, you get all the nutrients without the THC. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you've heard of that before, but that works very well.
I have. In order to activate the THC, you need to heat it. It's very interesting. The THC only becomes a psychoactive chemical. There's a chemical reaction that occurs when you heat it. So people will bake the marijuana into brownies. That'll get them high. Or they'll smoke it. That'll get them high as well, or they'll vape it.
But if you juice it, you don't have that problem, which is the reason why I do it. Now, my question for you is this. Lifestyle diseases. So the number 1 and 2 killers in the U.S. still are overnutrition, eating too much, and smoking. So now in order to live to all these ages, 120, whatever, you're going to have to stop smoking and eating too much and then do everything else. Am I correct or no?
Well, there are some people who have smoked a long time and lived to prodigious old age. There's a lot of people who are in their 90s who've smoked their whole life.
True.
I guess it depends on what you smoke. If you're, there is some argument that natural tobacco is not as bad for you as industrialized tobacco. If you look at natural tobacco, it's pretty clean stuff. If you look at the stuff that they sell you in a cigarette, there can be as much as 1,000 different chemicals, including some radioactive ones, added to the cigarettes.
Wow. You're not a smoker, are you?
No.
All right. You do hear these stories, though, about people living to be 100 and whatever, and they're sitting there happily smoking away.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm not endorsing smoking by any means.
Right.
But I'm just saying that if you're going to smoke, smoke the cleanest thing you possibly can, and that's natural tobacco.
Boy, I bet the tobacco companies wish they could put you on the air.
I could be like one of those Lucky Strike doctors from the AMA back in the 1950s.
They actually can't put anybody on the air. Let's go to Utah, I think, and you're on the air. Hi.
Art, harkening back to what we said before, the problem with the U.S. medical industry is not the doctors. I want to make that real clear. It's a lack of competition and lack of availability of new therapies that would be competition with drugs, that would drive the drug prices down and would make more medical care available to a larger number. It's a lack of competition, and the competition is held at the state that it is by the FDA, by the state licensing boards, by the entire system. So we need a system-wide repair.
Okay. Having said that, person in Utah, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Mr. Scammy.
I hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. I have a question for the doctor. I was recently diagnosed with cervical spine stenosis, and it was caused from every one of my thoracic and half of my lumbar vertebrae are herniated. Do you have any advice for me?
Okay. I'm going to stop you, ma'am. I'm sorry, but look, we have a medical doctor on the air. One thing medical doctors don't do, I won't allow him to do, and I doubt he would if I even did allow him to do. We're not making diagnosis on the air. We're not going to recommend treatment on the air. That's not a right thing to do, is it, doctor?
Well, it's very hard to do it. I mean, it's not very fair to the patient either, because, all I can give you, at the best I could do is give you the knee-jerk response, which, may or may not be right, and chances are it's not going to be right, because without examining the patient, you really can't know. There's dozens of different types of
there you go.
stenosis.
There you go. Exactly.
I'm
All
sorry. I wish I could help you out further.
All right. Another caller. Hi. You're on the air.
Hey, Art, this is Jeff calling from Fredericksburg, West Virginia.
Okay.
I don't want a diagnosis, but I want to give a little bit of background. 3.5 years ago, I had a A1C of 9.1.
Okay, look, there you go. It's technical. Sir, do you have a question that relates to what the doctor is here for?
Yes, I wanted to get his views on ketogenic diets, intermittent fasting, and the conventional doctors going along with American Diabetes Association, American Heart Association, when they're often off base and really not even science based.
All right, doctor.
I can't argue with the caller. I think that so many of these societies are based in science is 30 years old. They don't look at the latest technology. They don't look at the latest breakthroughs. They don't look at the latest research. And they're dogmatic. And they have an opinion, and they won't change it for almost anything. There is a lot of data to support, various types of diets, including the ketogenic diet. Ketogenic diet is very good for a lot of different problems, including neurological problems, by the way. Ketogenic is being advanced for people with Alzheimer's and neurodegenerative disease, as well as other problems, because the ketogenic diet has many benefits in stimulating tissue repair and in using an alternative energy system within the body. Our bodies run on not just glucose, but on ketones as well. With regard to fasting, intermittent fasting,
yes,
great stuff. Great stuff. It helps to detox the body, and there has never been a time in the history of man where the human species has been subjected to the level of toxicity from our environment. We're being literally poisoned by our food, our water, our air, and radio waves. Dare I say, not your radio waves from your show, Art, but
no, ours are clean. Our radio.
Yes, yours are healthy. But the environment we live in is polluted to the max, and it's taking an effect on health across the board. And people need to wake up to that, because even with the best drug therapies, with the best exercise, and with the best lifestyle, if you don't clean up your environment, you're in big, deep doo-doo.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go to Skype and Anthony. Anthony, you're on.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, hi there. Fine.
That's good. Hello, doctor. How are you?
Yes, sir.
Hi. Art, just want to tell you one thing real quick. Is I've been right there from the beginning with you.
Yes, sir.
I've never made a call to now.
Okay.
I'm just sorry I found you too fascinating to interrupt. But anyways, I have a real quick question. I hope this isn't out of line, but you were talking about smoking marijuana.
Yes.
And I have a real problem with that. See,
why?
I'm an extreme empath, and I was actually going to call once, Art, to help you with your OB problem. But anyways,
with my what problem?
Out of body experience.
Oh, I see. That wasn't a problem. That was cool.
Well, no, I didn't mean problem. I meant to help you.
Anyway, go ahead, sir. We only have so much time.
No problem.
Right.
Okay, so what I wanted to ask is, I really get too paranoid, emotional, and way too much on it. I have sarcoidosis.
On what, sir? On what?
On smoking pot.
Oh, okay.
And I have sarcoidosis, and it's a real bad side of it.
Okay, well, you know what, then don't smoke it.
Well, I want to know, is there a type that I can smoke? Because I've heard that there is.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, there's probably at least 50 different strains of marijuana that are commercially available and that are cultivated specifically for its level of this substance or that substance, and they have different effects. And so in places like Colorado, you can go into these marijuana, and California too, these marijuana dispensaries that are really, they're more pharmacies than they are anything else. And they will tell you, really, really carefully and to the letter what the benefits of this strain versus that strain are.
Right.
And so people who get, there are some strains of marijuana that do tend to make people paranoid or uncomfortable, and there are other strains that are much more mellow and are much more relaxing, and there are other strains that are very energizing, and there are other strains that are frankly supposedly open the third eye and are good for meditation and good for psychic experience. Now, I don't know how much of that is actual real, but I know that there is. It's kind of like having a pizza. There's pizza and there's pizza and there's pizza. Some of them taste a little more Mediterranean. Some of them taste a little more California. Some of them taste a little more, like Pizza Hut, right?
Right.
So there are different flavors. And if the caller does have a problem with anxiety, he might be able to find a strain that is much more mellow and less anxiety-inducing, or as you say, just don't smoke.
Right. Okay. Next from Columbus, I believe, with Dr. Platts.
Yes, this is James from London, Ohio. I had first Bell Gab Roswell Art.
Thank you.
For Dr. Clack,
Go, yeah.
I have a very specific question. I heard him talking about athletes and how they stay younger longer.
Right.
Now, I've experienced something that's totally different. It's working with the military. I joined when I was 17 in the Army and then in the Marine Corps at 20, and had several combat tours, plus I'm a contractor now. And I noticed with myself, I made gray, but I still can hump with the young dude. Hump meaning go up mountains in Afghanistan,
Thank you.
walk through the desert. And there is something, I think, to that keeps one young. And I'm now 48. So, I mean, I've been doing this. Look, war is a game. It's the ultimate game. And
I absolutely agree with you. If you're that active and you're that involved, it'll keep you younger. I think, that's doctors said that, right, doctor?
Yes, entirely, yeah.
Yeah, so we agree.
And that was my question, was what does that? Is it the adrenaline? That was my real question. Is it the adrenaline, the boredom?
What it is that when you exercise, you turn on an entirely different set of metabolism. You turn on different switches in your genes and in your metabolism than you do when you're sitting in a chair. Even if you stand up, you activate different switches in your mitochondria and in your chromosomes than when you're sitting down. Probably the worst thing you can do for yourself is to sit down throughout the day. The best thing you can do is stand, walk, or move. Motion is associated with a different process of metabolism, and it stimulates. It's not just the exercise. It's the actual movement that stimulates your metabolism to a different level. And that higher level of metabolism is associated with a more youthful level and is more effective at detoxification, at preventing many of the disorders of aging. So being sedentary is perhaps the worst thing you can do for yourself.
Okay, Pam, on Skype, you're on the air with Dr. Klatz.
Hello.
Hi.
What I would like to know is his opinion on, we are what we eat, right? GMO food.
Okay.
Glyphosate-laden vegetables.
Okay.
Oh, boy. There is a big push from very powerful people and from very powerful organizations and from very well-connected political organizations to force GMOs down the throat of the public. And frankly, what I don't understand is that if the FDA requires extensive testing for safety and for efficacy of every new drug that comes along, but you make a new substance, which is what you do with a GMO plant. If you make a GMO, if you put new genes into a plant, you have a different animal than you did, naturally. But the FDA just rubber stamps this stuff and lets it out onto the marketplace.
Oh, I know that. That's Michael Taylor runs that now. And isn't he a Monsanto person?
I believe he is.
Yeah.
So are you asking, ma'am, are you asking, are they safe? Are they dangerous? Are they good? Are they bad? What?
I think my opinion is, I want his opinion.
Well, then good. Make it a question.
What I want to know is how this affects, any kind of new medical longevity breakthrough, whether it is defeating the purpose.
All right.
Well, what you have is you have a big question mark, and the big question mark is GMO foods. And if you're into taking care of the most important machine you have, and that's not your car, and it's not your airplane or your boat or your telephone or your cell phone, it's your body. If you're into taking care of your body, then you want to be very conservative. And so you should be very cautious about what you put into it, whether it be a new drug, or whether it be a new form of food, or whether it be clean fuel, or clean air, or clean water. And so I recommend very, very strongly, if you have the potential for an extra, 15, 20, 30 years of youthful, productive lifespan, don't blow it on something that could potentially be dangerous.
All right. That was kind of an answer. I understand that you want to stay away from anything strictly problematic in some sort of legal way.
Coming to you at the speed of light in the darkness, this is Midnight in the Desert with Art Bell. Now, here's Art.
Here I am. My guest is Dr. Klatz. Very interesting questions coming. And here it is again. And I think you just got your answer to it, really. It's, hi, Art. Would you please ask Dr. Klatz if he thinks the rise in autoimmune diseases is due to GMO foods? So his answer was, be careful. Right, Doctor? Dr. Klatz? Is that it?
Yes, that's the most I can say right now, Art. Just be careful.
Okay.
And on the side of caution.
All right. Now, here comes another big one. The rate of autism in America is gone up incredibly. Now, it's gone up so far that nobody can figure out why. I mean, it's way up. It's scary. I mean, it was 1 in 500, 400, 300, 200, 1 in 87. It's freaky stuff. You want to stick your neck out on it at all? Got any guess? Not a chance. No, too bad.
All I can say is that MIT just published a report that at the current rate, autism will, if something is not done very, very soon, something that's very serious is not done about autism, that autism could be as frequent as 1 in 2 boys by the year 2030.
Did you say 1 in 2?
That's right, 50-50 chance. And that's from MIT.
Oh my God.
Just a recent report, not 2 weeks ago.
Unimaginable. Unsupportable. If that were to happen, that's like the end.
It is right now. It's
like the end of the world.
When I was growing up, the incidence of autism was 1 in 10,000.
Right.
In the Amish, it's still 1 in 10,000, but in the general public, it's like 1 in 60.
That's like the end of the world.
8.
That's like the end of the world.
It's getting there.
1 in 2? That's the end of the world. The world couldn't support that.
No.
All right. Fine. Let's go to the phones. I'm sorry. Who's next? Hit the next button, Arthur. There you go. Hi.
Hi there, Art. I have a question for Doctor. I'm Tom in San Diego.
Hi, Tom.
2 questions for the doctor back on tobacco. The first one is that you always see the statistics about that tobacco is the highest ranked cancer causing or cancer death causing.
Right.
But you never hear the percentage of people that actually smoke that get cancer, which is the inverse of the question. And the second tobacco question I have is, I started smoking when I'm 20. If I quit at 60, I know that changes happen in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. So my question is, what are those changes that happen naturally? And what does his life extension program have to make a better recovery?
Okay, with regard to an anti-aging medicine program, there's an awful lot of detoxification that goes along with anti-aging. And the detoxification is to pull toxins out of the body.
Right.
And whether that be through use of spirulina or chlorella or hot saunas or large amounts of vitamin C or other detoxifying nutrients, the purpose is all the same. Even exercise will help to remove toxins from the body. And there are a lot of toxins from smoking. I believe that the statistics are that it takes about 7 to 10 years to completely reverse or eliminate the risk factors associated with smoking, such as heart disease and cancer. So it's a long-term event, but you should start right now. The chance, you might get lucky and you might not end up with cancer. You might not end up with, heart disease. Not everybody gets it. And certainly there are things that you can do to mitigate it. There are a tremendous amount of anti-cancer products in the foods we eat. Garlic, selenium, vitamin D. These are all strongly anti-cancer. Folic acid.
Before we get too far away, let me invite you to stick your neck out again. And you can laugh and say no way if you want to. But, all right, so people are smoking cigarettes. I thought
you like me, Art.
I do. People are smoking cigarettes. They're hooked. They're looking for ways to stop. Now we have vaping. You know about vaping, right?
I do, and
okay.
I know one of the major manufacturers of vaping, and I was not for it initially because I wasn't convinced that the material they used for the vapors, the propylene glycol, was all that great for you.
Basically, vegetable oil, isn't it?
Well, it's propylene glycol, and sometimes they use vegetable oil.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway, it's much less toxic than what's in a cigarette, and it turns out that, quite to my surprise, that the studies are showing that vaping has a very good effect at helping people quit, because apparently the reason why people smoke is not so much the nicotine, but they have this psychological desire to play with the cigarette and watch the smoke and
absolutely
everything that goes with it.
Yes.
There's a whole mantra, associated with it, meditation perhaps. And people like that. And they can get the same feel from a vape cigarette, and it has a very high level of success in getting people to quit. I think it's like over 50%, which is much, much higher than any of the drugs.
We're not going to find out years later that it, causes somebody's leg to get shorter than the other one or something, are we?
I doubt it. I really do.
Okay. Well, that's a good answer. Honest answer. Thank you. Stay right where you are.
Your tender
darkest time between dusk and dawn. From the high desert, it's Art Bell's Midnight in the Desert. Now, here's Art.
This is really good stuff. Dr. Platts is my guest. We're talking about life extension. I want to add, Dr. Platts is not selling anything. You're not listening to an infomercial or any baloney or junk like that. This is just the state of the art, and we actually have branched off into many, many, many different areas, some of which he can talk about, and some of which, wisely, he does not talk about. And I don't blame him. I understand the implications. Scott, you're on the air with Dr. Platts. Yo.
Yeah, good morning, Art.
Morning.
Good morning, Doctor.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've got a question, but I've got a quick comment to the caller before who was having trouble with panic or whatever from smoking pot. If he can find a strain called God's Gift, I think he'll be favorably impressed.
All right, that's it. You have a question?
Yes, I do.
None of us are supposed to be giving out any kind of medical advice. So
Okay, sorry.
I understand God's gift.
Does the doctor, do you know of any advances in stem cell research that would suggest they could be helpful to people with surgically caused problems with the pituitary or hypothalamus?
That's kind of the very advanced and esoteric therapies. I don't think that I don't know of any stem cell researchers who are working on stem cell for hypothalamus or pituitary. However, stem cells are generally good for a lot of things. And, if you're able to find a stem cell researcher who's working on stem cell therapies for dementia or for Alzheimer's disease or for neurocognitive problems of the brain, you might get a beneficial effect on with these other tissue structures within the brain as well. Another interesting thing that's been happening. I mean, the area of neurology is exploding, and a new therapy that's coming to the fore, which isn't exactly stem cells but does work in a way to stimulate the natural repair mechanisms within the cells, is laser-assisted photomodulation or photobiomodulation. And what they're doing, quite shocking actually, it was developed originally by NASA for use in the space program back in the 70s. And then it got, they found that this stuff works. What they were doing was they were looking at the effect of light on cells. And they found that there's certain specific frequencies of red light stimulate cell repair.
All right, doctor, can I stop you for a second?
Sure.
I have a really bad back. I don't mean a little bit of a bad back. I have a bad back of bad backs. It's, it frequently will stop me, period. I can't walk. I can't walk. So that's called a full stop. And I've been seeing a doctor for years.
Right.
Okay, so I have tried something, and here it is. I went to a company who sells these LED pads, very expensive. I paid about $1,000 for what I got. It's a pretty good sized pad, doctor, and it has very strong red LEDs on it.
Yes.
And you can set the frequency of those LEDs that are modulated. You can set the duration. It gets quite warm. They're very powerful. And I've used it on my back, and never in all my life have I had anything that actually worked for my back. But this is doing it, and that's why I stopped you, because you were headed right there, so I couldn't help myself.
Exactly what I'm talking about. It's incredible the benefit of energy, of the right frequency on the cells of the body.
What does it do?
It stimulates the natural repair mechanisms within the cell itself. It actually energizes the cells. And it turns on DNA repair. It turns on tissue repair.
Really?
And it mitigates some of the pain pathways. It interrupts some of the pain pathways.
Well, that's no joke.
And they're using this right now. You know, dentists have been using this for tissue repair in the mouth, for gums. Veterinarians are using it for wound repair in dogs and in horses.
Really?
About the only people who are not using it is, again, the physicians, because it's not FDA approved for most doctors.
Well, look, I'm telling you, and I'm telling you the straight stuff here. I was at a point where I might have given up on ever having my back ever be better. I do it for about an hour a day, and I've been doing it now for almost...
An hour a day is probably a little bit too much.
Maybe.
Yeah, you're probably doing a little bit too much there. I'll talk to you off air about that. But
all right.
The important thing is that you have personal experience with photomodulation or photobiomodulation.
Yes, sir.
And this stuff does work, and it's been proven, and there's hundreds of papers. And now they're trying it out with Alzheimer's and with neurodegenerative disease. And they're finding it actually, in some cases, will regrow portions of the brain.
Incredible.
And so the listener who is talking about stem cells for pituitary and for other areas of the brain might have some benefit with neuromodulation, photobiomodulation, which is these red LEDs. But they have to be the right frequency, they have to be the right amount of time, and they have to be the right intensity.
Well, I've never found anything that worked until it came to this. I mean, there were some temporary things. You can go to a chiropractor, and frankly, my experience is that, they do what they do, and you feel better for about an hour, even most of the day, and then you're right back to where you were. Nothing ever really had a significant lasting effect until I tried this.
Now, this is a technology that's been underappreciated and has been underutilized for the last 30 years. And the reason why is it's not a pill. And the bias in the pharmaceutical in the FDA and the bias in the medical industry is if it's not a pill, it can't be that good for you. And so it's a therapy that's been underutilized, and it's just now we're beginning to see the incredible benefits of this stuff because it works on a basic level. It actually works on a cellular level to help in repair and detoxification of the tissue.
Okay. All right. Enough of that. Back to the phones. And all of you, you're on the air with Dr. Platts. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, I am. Turn your radio or device off immediately.
Yeah, I didn't know it would be that quick. Okay. I'm Rebecca. I have a question.
Yes.
I use a lot of anti-aging creams, and none of them seem to really work. And I was wondering what the doctor might recommend, especially for women, like maybe they're not super expensive.
Unfortunately, because again, it comes down to there's a million different anti-aging creams out there. Some of them are beneficial, some of them are not, and a lot of it depends on the individual. I wish I had an easy answer for you, but I don't. Except to say that there are things that do work.
All right. Hello, you're on the air with Dr. Platts.
Hi, this is Julia. Hello, Art.
Hi, Julia.
Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
So, Doctor, if you could just briefly address things like electric medicine, like the Bob Beck protocol. There's also this like EERT. It's EPRT. It's using, microcurrent to help bones heal. I'm just interested in your opinion on that.
I am too.
Sure.
Thank you.
Well, a lot of this, again, goes back to energy medicine, goes back to stimulating the cells of the body, stimulating the nervous system of the body in very subtle ways. And we don't understand much of that in the West. The Chinese seem to have a better understanding of energy medicine than we do because of their long history and, acceptance of acupuncture. But clearly, this stuff does work, and clearly this stuff does have a benefit. And for people who are interested in this, excuse me if I hawk my website, but worldhealth.net, there's probably about 100 papers online that are free for you that talk about these various aspects of energy medicine, and whether it be photonic energy, which is light, or whether it be microcurrent, or whether it be ultrasound, or whether it be magnetic nerve stimulation. This is a whole new area of medicine that will come into its own within the next 10, 15 years, because we're just beginning to start looking at these energy technologies in a meaningful way. And when we do, we will find miraculous results, just as you've experienced with red LED for pain.
Amazing stuff, yeah. Okay, Mac on Skype, you're on the air.
Yes, I'm calling from Arkansas.
Okay, but you're going to have to get really close to your computer because it sounds like you're in a hollow tunnel. So look for that little tiny hole in the computer where the mic is and get right up to it.
Is that better right there?
Yes, it is.
All right, thank you. I have two questions. I will try to make quick. My first question is, you were talking earlier about GMOs and marijuana, and it seems to me that there's a possibility that some of the marijuana that is sold in the marijuana stores today has been taken from its actual natural state, like possibly chemically grown. Is that a possibility? And number two,
they definitely, bred stronger and stronger and stronger. There's no doubt about that. And they bred for specific medical treatment as well.
Yeah, but I don't believe that they've inserted genes that have no natural reason for being there.
Not necessary. Anyway, caller, go ahead.
Yes, and my other question was, what is the basic element in cannabis, marijuana, if you will, that helps black patients like myself with RLS?
RLS is a real difficult problem to treat. It's very painful and it's very complicated. Though it certainly would not be out of the realm of, it certainly would not be worth it. It would be worth a try of trying the cannabinoids with it. Certainly the oils on the limb, because the type of pain that RLS is associated with, might be very well modulated by some of the cannabinoids.
Well, all right. Somewhere in Wisconsin, I believe you're on the air.
Thank you, Arthur. My name is Riley. I'm calling from Osceola, Wisconsin.
Hey, Riley, you're going to have to speak up good and loud.
All right. Any better?
Better.
All right. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Just a quick question in regards to progress in the anti-aging field in regards to type 1 diabetes.
Okay.
Diabetes is a very important issue in anti-aging because everybody has diabetes. I shouldn't say it. Let me take that back. Everyone is on their way towards getting diabetes.
Right.
If we live long enough, we all develop failure of our pancreas, and we develop insensitivity of the cells of our body to insulin. And so we develop diabetes or diabetes-like syndromes. And so there are a number there's an awful lot of research on new drug therapies. There's an awful lot of research on artificial pancreases. And there are artificial pancreases on the market. We're not just pumps, but actual, pancreas that adjusts insulin output depending on your blood sugar. There are better and better methods of determining blood sugar. The latest thing I've seen is a contact, like contact lenses for your eyes, that actually have Bluetooth embedded in them, a Bluetooth type transmitter, an RF transmitter that transmits to your cell phone what your level of glucose is. So, having diabetes was a pretty dismal diagnosis just 20 years ago, but today there's so much happening and so much good stuff. And with stem cells, I really believe that there's going to be a cure for not just type 2 diabetes, but type 1 diabetes very shortly. There certainly is in the laboratory right now with animals.
some people seem to acquire diabetes very early in life, and other people, as you say, very slowly move toward it toward the end of their life, right?
Yes. The people who develop it early are people who have an autoimmune reaction and have essentially they kill off the cells within the pancreas that produce insulin.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is an autoimmune disorder. As we grow older, it's a combination of autoimmune and desensitization of the cells to insulin, but much easier to treat type 2 diabetes, which is adult onset diabetes, than it is juvenile diabetes. And also juvenile diabetes causes more damage because there's much wider swings of glucose.
All right, Doctor, you have been a joy to have on here. Really, you're well-humored and everything, and you've got a lot of information, and we don't have a lot of time. So if you want to get in a plug here at the end, go for it. Okay, well, the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine is the world's largest preventive medicine society. We have 26,000 members, physician members of the Academy. We've trained over 150,000 doctors in 120 countries around the world. And we're a nonprofit organization, and we're here specifically for the purpose of advancing the state-of-the-art of preventive medicine and to train physicians in that technology. And so if you're looking for an anti-aging program, find a doctor who's a member of the Academy, and you can find them online at www.worldhealth.net. Worldhealth.net, and we have a free newsletter that I'll send to all of your listeners if they go online and sign up for it. It's right there on the homepage at worldhealth.net, and there's even a forum that they can leave questions, and doctors will answer their questions for them online. So a lot of benefits, and it's all free, and that's because we're a nonprofit organization. We're out there just to, advance the science and help the public. Way to go, Doctor. It's been a pleasure having you on the air.
I'm so happy you're back.
Thank you, and we will do it again, my friend.
You bet.
Good night.
Stay on the line. I want to talk about something.
All right. I will, actually. Private and secret medical advice. Keep an eye on my picture. From the sound of his voice, I might be getting younger and younger and younger and younger.
So, Art Bell concluding his day. We'll conclude ours here as well. Come back tomorrow night for a new topic. Until then, have a great night. Like, share, and subscribe. Be kind to one another and release the Krakens. As we always march along here from day one. Have a great night. I had 2 episodes on that day, but forgot to